I have with me in studio, one of Nigeria's most darling Nollywood legends, because she's a legend. Omoni Oboli. She's a Nigerian actress, scriptwriter, just in case you're under a rock and you don't know who she is. Nigerian scriptwriter, filmmaker, producer, trained digital filmmaker. You studied at the New York Film Academy. You've written several screenplays, Figurine, Anchor Baby, Fatal Imagination, Being Mrs. Elliot, First Lady, Wives on Strike. Girl, how do you do it? And you've just released another movie called Love is War. And it is trending in the theaters. The sales are off the chains. I've seen videos of you selling tickets at different cinemas. And why do you do that, Nat? I feel like you kind of started that trend. I kind of feel like you were the first person I saw doing the whole selling tickets thing. Maybe not the first, but it's something you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, point of correction, I didn't. Thanks, first of all, for being here.
You're welcome.
I didn't write Figurine and Anchor Baby.
Oh, you didn't?
I starred in them, but I didn't write them. I didn't even make those movies. I just starred in them.
Okay.
Yeah. But those movies actually sort of brought me to limelight, so I'm seriously associated with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I can understand why you would make that mistake. Well, the whole cinema tour thing, yes, we sort of popularized it. Yeah. I think in the beginning, Nigerians weren't very open to watching Nigerian movies at the cinema. They were so used to watching it at home, you know, because everyone's like, oh, home video. And then we started, home video. So we started making movies for cinema, Nigerian movies for cinema, and people were a bit skeptical. They're like, okay, how am I going to come to the cinema to watch a Nigerian film? I watch it at home, you know, so we had to sensitize them, which is why we started going from cinema to cinema, from city to city, talking to people, saying, you know what, this is different. It's not a made-for-TV movie, it's a made-for-cinema movie.
Because there is a distinction between made-for-cinema and made-for-TV movies.
Yes, so we needed to do that at the time.
Even though a lot of films in the cinemas, for real, don't deserve to be there, for free online, so we never watch.
Why are you like this?
How can we curb mediocrity? You know, Nigeria just turned 59 and we keep complaining about so many things.
I know.
Mediocrity in everything.
I know.
You know, a lack of maintenance culture, of building and so on and so forth. In your industry where you are arguably one of the leaders of, you know, of the charge, of the movement, how can one curb mediocrity in Nollywood? You know,
it's difficult because you can only really do your part. You know what I mean? I'm not going to come to your company or your set or whatever, or your production to start saying you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. I'm hoping that people will learn from example. So you see the movies that come out and they're very well done and everyone's raving about it. Perhaps you would want that same experience. You know what I mean? Perhaps you would want your own movie to be raved about, for people to talk about it in a positive light. So maybe you would try to up your production values. Maybe you would watch other people's movies and say, you know what, I can do this. I mean, even that happens to me, you know. I watch movies and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I could have shot that film, you know? Okay, so maybe I should do this and do that in my next production to make it bigger, to make it better, to make it nicer, you know?
But here's one thing. A lot of people hide under the guise of low budget. Oh, it was a low budget. We didn't really have a lot of money to do this and hire quality actors and get great locations and stuff like that. But we have seen American films shot on proper shoestring budgets that are amazing, from script to storytelling to production and everything else. You can't tell. Why do we still hold on to things like that?
So I think one of the problems is, if you want to cook, for instance, you want to cook banga soup, right? I had banga soup before I came.
I saw your tweets.
I'm sure you say, where's my own?
You're taking me now when we finish.
No problem. You know, so you want to cook banga soup, but you want to cook fresh fish banga soup, you know, and then you have periwinkles and you have crabs and you have snails and you have this, you know, this would be really nice, right? You know that you're going to spend 10,000 naira to cook that kind of soup. But then you want to cook that same pot of banga soup and then you spend 2,000 naira. It's never going to be the same.
So why don't they want to collaborate?
So why don't you shoot, or in my opinion, why don't you shoot a script or a story that your budget can contain?
Or why don't they want to collaborate with people who have money? Why are they so eager to want to take oh, it's my film. It's a this is it's a Latashangube film. Like, do you think there's some ego attached to that? Because another thing is, people also don't want to listen to any kind of criticism. I mean, we were just talking about Love is War, and I was saying to you how I hadn't seen any bad reviews online. Now, so there's one thing where people tell you the truth and you don't want to listen, that this is a bad film. And then there's another thing where people are not telling you the truth because of your ego. And that is a huge thing
that's
in Nollywood.
major, yeah.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts on that?
So creative people are weird, me included, you know.
Fair.
Yes, we're weird people. No one wants you to trash their work because creativity is almost like a spiritual thing. And, you know, you've done this thing and you just think it's so good and you don't want anyone to say, oh, it's bad or it's rubbish or it's this or it's that. Personally, when people criticize me constructively, I'm very open to it. But when you just go, oh, this is trash, or this is the, you know, then I start to feel, why are you doing this? You know, if you want to criticize me, be constructive. Say what you don't like about it. Don't just say it's rubbish. You know what I mean? So when people criticize constructively, I feel like people tend to listen more. But then again, there's some people who don't listen to any
egos are
kind
bigger
of
than
criticism
the
at all.
Absolutely.
You will not grow. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You will never grow.
Okay, well, let's see. Of all the films that you've been in, which has been the most tasking and challenging?
So that question is
loaded.
It's loaded, yeah. Because you have to remember that I'm both an actress and a filmmaker.
Absolutely.
So I have to think about, as an actor, which one has been the most challenging, and then as a filmmaker, which one has been the most challenging. I would say as an actor, for a character, the most challenging is probably, I don't even know if I want to use that word challenging, the most intense in terms of, you know how you've become a character and then you can't come out of it.
Deep.
Yes, it would probably be Anchor Baby. Because it was so difficult not to remain Joyce. Joyce is the character in my character in Anchor Baby. I couldn't stop being her. Like, I couldn't get out of her. I would shoot scenes and then we're done and I can't just get out. You know, and I'm just there sitting down, bawling my eyes out, and I just can't stop.
And
I don't even know how to stop. You know, so as a producer filmmaker, I'll probably say Love is War.
Love is War.
Yeah, it was very tasking.
What made it so, you know?
So, you know, it's a political drama,
Yes.
and politics is big.
Yes.
And it's almost impossible to tell a political story and tell it small.
True.
You have to tell it big. So we had large cast and background actors, so many, like in a day we could have hundreds of background actors, and it was just so tasking. You know, when you put hundreds of adults in one room, that's when you know they can be quite unruly. You know, and then you're saying, cut, we are doing this way, and you're doing that way, and people are just talking, and you're trying to get them to keep quiet, and it's just, and we spent a lot of money on it because of the kind of story we're telling, you know, so even that was stress. At a point we were like running out of money, and then we had to go get money from some places. It was very tasking.
And I'm going to touch on something very quickly before we move on. You talked about it being a political movie. How do you think that films these days in the Nollywood space, political films, can help change or shape the narrative in Nigeria, like what is happening in our democracy now, and especially in light of our 59th independence? How do films like Love is War help the
So one of the things that we did with Love is War is we showed you what is, and we showed you what could be. It's a very thin line, but we managed to work that thin line. So we showed you how Nigerian politics is today with the godfatherism and all those things, but we also showed you how we think it should be. They say love does not win elections, but love won the election in Love is War. You know, so we try to put things in there that even politicians, when they watch it, they would be able to learn, or people that are about to go into politics or looking to go into politics, when they watch it, they will see, you know, you can actually do it this way. It doesn't have to be this way all the time. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be dirty. We know that they say politics is dirty, and yeah, we showed you the dirt in the film, but it doesn't have to be. We also showed you how you could do it and it won't be dirty. You know, so I feel like a lot of people could learn a thing or two from that.
I feel like you're one of the actresses who have been really like vocal in terms of good governance and things like that. You've been somewhat like active in that space as an advocate for good governance, like I said. What are your thoughts currently on the political space in Nigeria?
Ooh, child. Do you want to chase me out of this country?
No, no. We know you got a base. We're coming to that.
Whew, it could be better, a lot better. You know, I'm not going to sit down here and lie and say that I'm happy with what is going on politically or the government of the day. You know, it could be so much better. Nigeria has so much potential, but it just feels like we're wasting away. You know what I mean? And it's affecting every industry, mine inclusive. Person never chop finish now to go watch film. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be full before you can buy tickets to go to the cinema to watch a movie. You know,
it shouldn't be a luxury.
It shouldn't be, you know what I mean? So now it's like a luxury. It's like, oh, instead of me to watch film, make I go chop. It's affecting everybody. There's no money in this system. Like, it feels like we're stuck in a rut.
So if you could demand one thing from the government right now, looking at the camera, what would it be?
Whew, you know, it's hard, Natasha. It's really hard. I feel like I love Nigeria. I love this country so much, but somehow Nigeria just has a way of making me lose hope. You know, I want to say that one thing that I want, but I'm at the same time I'm thinking, would it even be done? Would they even listen? Are they even hearing us? Like, I don't feel like anyone's listening to us anymore. You know, I don't feel like the government of the day is listening to the people, because if you are listening to the people, then you can see that they're suffering. Like, it's getting me emotional, so let's move on.
Okay. Let's bring it back. We talked about the most challenging and tasking films for you, but there was this stint at some point last year, 2 years ago, Okafor's Law.
Are we still talking about Okafor's Law?
I mean, we got to talk about Okafor's Law. I mean, Okafor's Law is legendary. It's a legendary situation. But what were the lessons you learned from the Okafor's Law situation?
I guess one of the lessons would be that you can't just trust people like that. You've got to make sure that everything is, there's pen and paper put to
you guys
everything.
At home are going to need to go and Google Okafor's Law and figure out what happened there.
Yeah.
But she's just telling us the aftermath.
Yeah.
And so,
oh, by the way, you know who won the case, right?
Yes, I do know you won the case.
Yeah.
I do. But did it affect your reputation and revenue generated? But did it even help the sales of for the movie?
You know what? I don't think it affected the revenue. I think it probably did help, because now everyone's like, okay, what is this Okafor's Law? What's going on? What's going on? Because it was like there was so much brouhaha, exactly.
Yes.
You know, so I think it probably did help.
But you were saying, sorry, about trust. Go back to that.
Yeah.
About not trusting people. That's one of the things you learned.
Yes.
What else?
I learned that in this space where I'm working, in the creative space, people can come up with all sorts of things. I mean, 1 minute you're telling someone a story, go help me write. The person never sends you a script. The next minute they're saying the story that you eventually wrote yourself is theirs. And I'm thinking, what the heck? Like, how do you sit down and just cook up something like that? You know, but it is what it is. It was huge. It was a huge lesson for me as well. And we've moved on.
So do you feel like there's a strong process of protecting people's IP in the creative industry?
I think we don't do enough. I really think we don't do enough. Me inclusive, we don't do enough. Okafor's Law taught me a huge lesson that, you know what, you have to protect your IP anyhow. You know, there are bodies that can do that, and we should really take them up. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move away from this for a moment. Lionheart by your colleague Genevieve Naji was selected by the NOSC, Nigerian Oscar Committee, for entry into the 2020 Oscars. How do you feel about the development and what this could possibly do for Nollywood in general? I
think it's great. I think it's about time we actually start submitting movies, because I don't think in the past, we haven't really submitted movies. So I think it's time we actually start submitting movies. So it's great. And I'm hoping that, you know, we get picked up, or, you know, somehow that something comes out of this. It would still put us on the map. For me, whatever puts Nollywood on the map puts Nollywood on the map. And if someone's talking about Nollywood internationally, they're talking about me indirectly.
Absolutely. One for all
Yep.
and all for one. I love that. Speaking of, again, international movement, films and submission, you've done quite a few, you've submitted to a few festivals. I know that you've submitted to Toronto a couple of times. You screened a couple of films at the Toronto International Film Festival.
But Campus Law was screened there.
Yes, it was screened there, actually. But so you have a relationship with Canada, as it were. A lot of people do not know, however, that you got married much early in your career, and you went off, you took time off for almost about a decade to focus on family, and then you moved back and you commute back and forth because your kids and your husband are all based there. How do you run that commute? How do you balance that out as a mom and a wife and all your commitments, shuttling between continents, actually?
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Sometimes I joke that, you know, I'm traveling so much, my head spins. Like, my body is never quite sure where it is and what it's doing.
Because you're very relevant on the scene, so much so that people don't actually realize that you're not here half the time.
Yeah. So it is what it is. You know, I've got to do what I've got to do. Thankfully, my kids are a lot older. Oh, my son just turned 18.
Oh, congratulations.
My first son, yes. So,
look at you.
I'm mom to an adult.
That's right.
You know, so my kids are a lot older now, so it's a bit easier because they can pretty much take care of themselves now, you know. So they understand the work that I do. That's the one thing that I made sure they understand it. So they know when mommy is not around, it's because she's working. And then when she comes back, everything goes back to normal. In short, better than normal. Because when I'm with my kids or when I'm with my family, it's like Christmas every day. Like I'm constantly cooking and baking and doing all the things that they love. You know, so that when I'm not there, they have something to look forward to. So when mommy comes back, this is going to start happening again and all of that, you know. So it's not easy. I mean, in terms of even buying tickets, it's not a joke. Sometimes I'm like, you know, I'm just working to buy tickets. You know, I joke about it. I'm just working to buy tickets because tickets are so expensive, you know, and I have to travel so often. You know, but it is what it is. It's that phase in my life, and I have to do it.
So I have two more questions. One of them, I just personally want to know, who's your best ever on-screen kiss? I want to know, who's the best kisser ever?
Okay, so here's the thing about on-screen romance that people who are not part of the industry do not understand.
Is it film trick? You want to tell us you're not really kissing the person?
So guys, I'm going to look at the camera and tell you people, so that once and for all, stop asking me about kissing.
I'm going to look at the camera with you. Tell us.
So the thing about kissing in movies or on-screen romance is it's made to look more than it actually is. So personally, and I think that goes for most actors, we only kiss with our lips. Your tongue doesn't get involved.
Okay, but who had the best lips? Who's had the best lips?
Okay, so let me explain to you, Latasha. Wait, you know they hear me.
We get to time they go.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Time they go.
I'm dead. So here's the thing. When you're kissing in a film or when you're having a romantic scene, there are like 15 other people in the room with you. You're not thinking about whether the kiss is sweet or is not at that time. People too plenty.
So of all the people you don't kiss for film now, which lip?
Okay, can I just tell you the one that like almost cut my lip?
Okay, tell us.
Majid. As in, no joke. Like, we finished a scene and my lip was bleeding.
I'm like,
Majid.
He kissed you too, you bled.
My lips are bleeding. What is going on?
Okay. Quick story. Quickly tell us about Love is War. We know what the reception has been like. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Storyline, very quickly, we've said about that, but who are like the lead actors in the film?
Okay, so Love is War is an intense drama about a married couple, husband and wife, who end up vying for the same political position.
And you play the lead role as well.
So it stars myself and Richard Mofe Damijo, popularly known as RMD. We had a lot of romantic scenes in the film.
Interesting that he didn't rate in the kiss factor, but okay. Cool.
No, I said the person that cut my lip. I not said the best kiss.
Okay, no problem.
So
anyway,
yeah. So us, there's Shafi Bello, Jide Kosoko, Toke Makinwa, Akin Lewis, Yemi Black, Femi Branch, a host of, you know, Nollywood actors. Thank
you so much, Omoni, for
Natasha.
being here. I hope I get to interview you again another time.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Nigeria, you've heard it from Omoni Oboli. You've heard it. You've heard everything she has to say. Go see Love is War. Go see the great movie showing now in cinemas across the country. Thank you again. And we will be right back.